The graveyard was silent. Early morning fog covered the ground like a white blanket. Cold wind moved slowly between the old graves. No words, no voices, just quiet. A black woman stood near one grave. She wore a simple black dress. Her head was down. Tears fell from her eyes, but she made no sound. 3 small children stood beside her. They were triplets. Same faces, same eyes. They held her dress tightly, afraid to let go. The woman whispered softly, "This is your father's place. Be calm." The children did not understand much. They only knew their mother was sad. Suddenly, the sound of a car broke the silence. A black luxury car stopped near the gate. The engine was loud, too loud for a place like this. The woman slowly turned her head. A tall man stepped out of the car. He wore an expensive suit. His shoes were clean. His face was cold and angry. People in the graveyard looked at him. Everyone knew who he was. He was a millionaire, the son of the man buried here. He walked fast toward the woman. His eyes went from her face to the children, then to the grave. His face changed. Anger filled his eyes. He shouted loudly, "What are you doing at my father's grave?" The sound echoed across the graveyard. The children jumped in fear. The woman did not answer. She stood still. The man laughed in a cruel way. "Is this some kind of joke?" he said. "Are you begging here now?" People nearby started whispering. "Who is she? Why is she here?" "Those kids look just like him." The woman slowly lifted her head. Her eyes were red. Her face showed pain, not fear. She spoke calmly. "I came to say goodbye." The man stepped closer. "You have no right to be here," he said. "My father never knew you." The woman said nothing. One of the children started crying. She bent down and wiped his tears. "It's okay," she whispered. The man looked angry. "Security," he shouted. "Remove her from here." But before anyone moved, the woman stood up again. She reached in her bag. Her hands were shaking. She pulled out an old, folded letter. She held it close to her chest. The man laughed again. "What is that?" he asked. "A fake story?" She looked at him for the first time. Her voice was low but strong. "Your father asked me to come today." The graveyard became silent. The man froze. "What did you say?" he asked. She repeated slowly. "Your father asked me to come here. Today." The man walked closer. "That is a lie," he said. "My father is dead. He never spoke about you." She opened the letter. The paper was old. The writing was clear. She did not read it aloud. She just held it. The man tried to grab it, but she pulled it back. "This is not for you," she said. "This is for the truth." The crowd grew bigger. Phones came out. People started recording. The man looked around, embarrassed and angry. He pointed at the children. "And these kids?" he asked loudly. "Are they part of your lie too?" The woman did not answer. One of the triplets looked up at the man. He stared at his face. Then he said softly, "Mom, he looks like the man in the photo." The woman's eyes filled with tears again. The man felt something strange in his chest. His smile disappeared. "What photo?" he asked. The woman closed her eyes. She held her children closer. Before she could speak, a strong wind passed through the graveyard. The letter almost slipped from her hand. The man reached for it again. This time, she did not stop him. He opened the letter. His hand started shaking. His eyes moved fast across the page. His face slowly changed. The graveyard felt colder. Much colder. And just before he could speak, the screen fades to black. The story did not begin in the graveyard. It began many years earlier. Back then, the woman was not dressed in black. She smiled more. She dreamed more. Her name was Amara. She lived a simple life in a small neighborhood. She worked in a flower shop. Her hands always smelled like roses. One evening, a man walked into the shop. He was tall, quiet, well-dressed, but not loud. That man was Daniel. He did not say much at first. He only asked for white flowers. Amara noticed his eyes. They looked lonely. He came again the next day, and the day after that. Slowly, they started talking. Daniel listened to her. He respected her. He never rushed her. Amara felt safe with him. She did not know he was rich. She did not know his name was in newspapers. To her, he was just a kind man. Weeks turned into months. They shared simple moments. Walking in the park, eating cheap food, laughing at small jokes. For the first time, Amara felt seen. One night, Daniel looked worried. he said. My life is complicated. Amara smiled gently. So, is everyone's, she said. He held her hand tighter that night. Soon, Amara noticed changes in her body. She felt tired. She felt sick in the mornings. A doctor gave her the news. You were pregnant. Her hand shook. When she told Daniel, he went silent. He did not smile. He did not touch her. After a long pause, he said, I need time. That was the last time she saw him. Days passed. No calls. No messages. Amara waited. She went to his apartment. It was empty. She asked about him. No one answered. Her phone stayed silent. People around her changed. Friends walked away. The shop owner let her go. Pregnancy was not easy. Then came another shock. The doctor said, you are carrying 3 babies. Triplets. Amara cried alone that night. She had no money, no partner, no plan. Her belly grew. Her fear grew faster. People judged her. Some whispered. Some laughed. Some blamed her. But Amara stayed strong. She talked to her babies every night. You are loved, she whispered, even if the world is cruel. The night of birth was painful. She screamed. She prayed. 3 cries filled the room. 3 lives began. Amara looked at them and smiled through tears. She named them with hope. One night, months later, a letter arrived. No sender name. No return address. Her hand shook as she opened it. Inside were simple words. If anything happens to me, take the children to my grave. Amara's heart raced. She knew the writing. It was Daniel's. She looked at the date. It was written only weeks ago. She tried to find him again. But this time, she found the truth. Daniel was sick. Very sick. And then, he was gone. Amara never asked for money. She never asked for help. She only kept the letter safe. Years passed. The triplets grew. They asked questions. Where is our father? Why are we different? Amara always answered softly. He loved you, she said. He just did not have time. On the morning of the graveyard visit, she dressed in black. She held the letter. She took her children's hands. She went where the truth was buried. She did not know a storm was waiting. She did not know the sun would be there. And she did not know that her silence was about to break everything. Because some secrets do not stay buried forever. The graveyard no longer felt quiet. People stood in small groups, whispering. Phones were raised. Eyes were watching. Amara stood still, holding her triplets close. The millionaire, Ethan, held the letter in his hand. The paper looked old. The edges were worn. This was not something written yesterday. Ethan laughed, but the sound was empty. You really planned this, he said. A letter, kids, tears, all for money. Amara looked at him calmly. I never asked you for anything, she said. I came because I was told to come. Ethan unfolded the letter. At first, he only scanned it. His eyes moved fast. Then, they slowed down. His jaw tightened. The crowd leaned closer. The letter was short, but every word carried weight. It spoke of regret, of silence, of fear. Ethan's father wrote about a woman he loved but could not protect. About children he never met but thought about every night. About a life built on money but broken by lies. Ethan's hands began to shake. He folded the letter quickly. This proves nothing, he snapped. Anyone could fake this. One of the triplets stepped forward. He looked up at Ethan with wide eyes. Why do you look angry? The child asked. Our mommy cries like that too. The question cut deep. Ethan looked away. The woman bent down. Come back here, she whispered. But the child did not move. I saw his picture, the boy said again. In mommy's box. Ethan turned sharply. What box? He demanded. Amara closed her eyes. She knew this moment would come. There's a photo, she said quietly. Your father holding them as babies. The crowd gasped. Ethan laughed again, louder this time. That's impossible, he said. My father never left me. Never. But his voice was shaking now. A woman in the crowd spoke. My father had a second family, she said softly. We only learned after his death. Ethan snapped his head toward her. Enough, he shouted. The children began to cry. Amara hugged them tightly. I did not come to fight, she said. I came because a man was scared to die with lies. Ethan stared at the grave. His father's name was carved in stone. Strong letters. Perfect lines. Just like his public image. But Ethan remembered something. Late nights. Closed doors. Phone calls taken in secret. His chest felt tight. Still, pride stood tall. "You will leave now?" he said coldly. "Before I call the police." Amara nodded. She turned to walk away. Then she stopped. She reached in her bag again. This time, she took out a small photo. She placed it gently on the grave. It showed Daniel smiling, holding 3 tiny babies. His eyes were full of love. The crowd went silent. Ethan froze. He had seen that smile before. In old photos. In mirrors. "This is not revenge," Amara said. "This is truth." Ethan grabbed the photo. His fingers trembled. He looked at the children again. Same eyes. Same shape. His heart pounded. "This means nothing," he whispered. But deep down, he knew it meant everything. A reporter stepped forward. "Sir," he asked, "will you agree to a DNA test?" The word hung in the air. DNA. Ethan looked at Amara. She met his eyes. "No fear," she said. "I have waited years." The triplets held her hands tighter. Ethan looked around. Cameras. People. The grave. His father's silence felt loud. "Fine," he said. "We will do it." Amara nodded. But before they left, she said one last thing. "If I am lying," she said, "I will disappear forever." Ethan swallowed hard. "And if you're telling the truth?" he asked. Amara looked at her children, then at the grave. "Then your father finally rests," she said. The wind blew again. The photo lifted slightly, then fell face down. And the question remained. Was blood stronger than pride? The news spread fast. By the next morning, the story was everywhere. Millionaire accused at father's grave. Mystery woman with triplets claims truth. DNA test to decide fate. Cameras waited outside the medical center. Amara arrived early. She held her children's hands. They wore clean, simple clothes. Their eyes were tired but brave. She bent down and spoke softly. "No matter what happens," she said, "I am proud of you." The triplets nodded. Inside, the room was cold and white. A nurse explained the test. Small swabs. No pain. The children stayed calm. Amara watched closely. Across the room, Ethan stood alone. His phone kept ringing. Lawyers. Friends. Business partners. He ignored them all. He looked at the children. Something inside him felt heavy. He remembered his father teaching him to be strong, to never show weakness. But this felt different. This felt personal. The test was done quickly. Results would take a few days. "Waiting is the hardest part," the nurse said. Outside, reporters shouted questions. Ethan raised his hand. "There will be no comments," he said. Amara said nothing. She shielded her children. The days felt long. Every hour, a new rumor appeared online. Some people supported Amara. Some attacked her. Gold digger. Liar. Poor woman playing games. Amara read none of it. She focused on her children. She cooked simple meals. She helped with homework. She hugged them longer at night. One evening, the smallest triplet asked, "Mom, will we lose again?" Her heart broke. She smiled anyway. "No," she said. "Truth never loses." Ethan spent those days in silence. He walked through his large house alone. Everything felt empty. He stopped in his father's study. Old books. Old photos. In a drawer, he found something. A second phone. His hands shook as he turned it on. Messages appeared. Unsent messages. To Amara. Apologies. Fear. Regret. Ethan sat down slowly. For the first time, he felt small. The call came on the 4th day. "The results are ready," the doctor said. The meeting room was quiet. Amara sat with her children. Ethan stood across from her. The lawyer placed the envelope on the table. No one moved. The clock ticked loudly. Ethan nodded. "Open it," he said. The lawyer broke the seal. He read silently. Then his face changed. He cleared his throat. "The test confirms," he said, "that the children are biologically related to Daniel." The words hung in the air. Amara closed her eyes. Tears fell. The triplets looked at her. "Mom," they asked. She hugged them tightly. Ethan felt dizzy. His knees weakened. He grabbed a chair and sat down. This can't be," he whispered. But it was. The lawyer continued. "They are his children." Silence filled the room. Outside, cameras waited. Inside, lives changed. Ethan looked at Amara. His voice cracked. "Why didn't you come sooner?" Amara wiped her tears. "I was never invited," she said. "I respected his fear." Ethan looked at the children again. His father's blood. His father's eyes. Shame washed over him. I thought you wanted money, he said. Amara shook her head. I wanted truth, she replied. The lawyer stood. There is more, he said. Ethan looked up. Your fathers will mention the children. Ethan's heart sank. The past had not finished speaking. Not yet, because the will carried a secret, one that would change everything. The room felt smaller. No one spoke. The lawyer held a thick folder in his hands. The name Daniel Carter was written on the front. Ethan stared at it. His father's name. The man he thought he knew. The lawyer cleared his throat. Your father updated his will 3 months before he passed, he said. Ethan looked confused. That's not possible, he replied. I was told everything was settled years ago. The lawyer nodded slowly. That is what everyone believed. Amara sat quietly. She held her children close. She did not smile. She did not look proud. She only looked tired. The lawyer remained calm. The trust is protected. It cannot be touched or controlled by anyone else. Ethan turned to Amara. So this was about money after all? He said. Amara looked up at him. Her eyes were steady. I did not know about the will, she said. I never asked for it. One of the triplets spoke softly. Mom didn't want to come, he said. She cried all night. Ethan froze. The lawyer raised his hand. There is more, he said. Ethan sat back down slowly. The will also states, the lawyer continued, that the children's name must be recognized publicly. Ethan's face turned pale. Publicly, he asked. Yes, the lawyer said. Your father wanted them acknowledged. Ethan covered his face with his hands. The world he built on control was falling apart. Outside, the media waited. Inside, his past was judging him. Amara spoke gently. I only wanted them to know where they come from, she said. They don't need your name. They don't need your money. Ethan looked at her. Then why now, he asked. She answered honestly. Because your father was afraid to die forgotten by his children. Silence. Heavy. Painful. Ethan stood and walked to the window. He saw cameras. Faces. Curiosity. He whispered, I spent my life protecting an image. He turned back and destroyed real people. One of the triplets walked toward him. The child looked small. Brave. Are you mad at us? He asked. Ethan dropped to his knees. Tears filled his eyes. No, he said. I'm mad at myself. He looked at Amara. I judged you without knowing you, he said. I humiliated you. Amara nodded. I know, she replied. Ethan bowed his head. I'm sorry, he said. The lawyer closed the folder. There is one final condition, he said. Ethan looked up. The lawyer spoke carefully. Your father requested that you decide one thing. What? Ethan asked. Whether you will accept these children as family, the lawyer said, or walk away forever. The room froze. Amara held her breath. The children waited. Ethan stood between pride and truth, between the man he was and the man his father failed to be. And his answer would change everything. The room felt heavy. Everyone waited for Ethan to speak. Amara stood quietly. Her hands were shaking, but her face stayed calm. The triplets stood close to her. They did not understand everything, but they felt the tension. Ethan looked at them. 3 small lives. His father's blood. His own reflection. The lawyer repeated the words slowly. Will you accept them as family or walk away forever? Ethan's heart pounded. He thought about his life. The power. The respect. The image he protected every day. He remembered how people bowed to him. How no one questioned him. But now, 3 children had changed everything. He walked away from the table. He stood near the wall, facing away. I was raised to believe weakness destroys men, he said quietly. My father taught me that. Amara listened. The children listened. I thought love made you soft, Ethan continued. I thought control made you strong. He laughed bitterly. But my father died afraid, he said, and I'm standing in his shadow. He turned back. His eyes met Amara's. You carried this alone, he said, while I lived in comfort. Amara nodded. Yes, she said, but I survived. One of the triplets stepped forward again. The same child who always asked questions. Are you our uncle? He asked. The word hit Ethan hard. Uncle. Family. Something he never learned how to be. He bent down slowly. Yes, he said. I am. The child tilted his head. Are you going to leave too? He asked. Ethan closed his eyes. That question broke him. He remembered his father leaving rooms, closing doors, choosing silence. No, Ethan said firmly. I will not leave. Amara's breath caught. The lawyer looked surprised. Ethan stood up. I accept them, he said clearly. Not because of the will, not because of blood. He looked at the children, but because they deserve more than secrets. Tears filled Amara's eyes, but she stayed strong. Ethan walked toward her. He stopped a few steps away. I owe you an apology, he said. Not as a millionaire, as a man. Amara looked at him. She remembered the graveyard, the shouting, the humiliation. I hear you, she said, but healing takes time. Ethan nodded. Understand, he replied. The lawyer cleared his throat. There is the matter of the press, he said. They are waiting. Ethan took a deep breath. I will face them, he said. Amara looked surprised. You don't have to, she said. Ido, Ethan replied. For the first time, outside cameras flashed. Microphones rushed forward. Ethan stood tall. These children are my father's, he said, and they're my family. Gasps filled the air. He continued. I was wrong. I judged before listening. He looked back at Amara. She showed dignity when I showed pride. The crowd went silent. Amara stepped forward. She did not smile. She did not cry. She spoke with calm strength. My children are not a scandal, she said. They are human beings. The triplets held her hands. Ethan looked at them again. A strange warmth filled his chest. Not ownership, not control, responsibility. Later that evening, they returned to the graveyard. The sun was low. Soft light touched the stone. Ethan stood beside Amara. I failed him, Ethan said quietly. No, Amara replied. He failed himself. She placed flowers on the grave. The triplets stood in front. No fear this time, only silence and understanding. Ethan whispered, I will do better. The wind moved gently through the trees. The past did not disappear, but loosened its grip. And for the first time, a broken family stood together. Not perfect, but real. The graveyard looked different that day. Not because it changed, but because the people standing there had changed. The sun was warm. The wind was gentle. Amara stood quietly, holding the hands of her triplets. They were no longer afraid. Ethan stood a few steps behind them. Not in front, not above, beside them. He placed fresh flowers on his father's grave. White flowers, the kind Daniel used to buy. I spent my life angry, Ethan said softly. At him, at myself. Amara listened. She had no anger left, only calm. You don't heal by staying angry, she replied. You heal by choosing better. The children knelt down. They touched the stone. This is our father, one of them said quietly. Ethan felt tears rise. Yes, he said. He is. That moment changed something inside him. Days passed. The world reacted fast. Some praised Ethan. Some accused him. But for the first time in his life, he did not try to control the story. He focused on what mattered. He visited the children often. Not with gifts. Not with money. With time. He helped with homework. He listened to their stories. He learned their favorite food. Slowly, trust grew. One evening, Ethan invited Amara to talk. No cameras. No lawyers. Just truth. I want to support them, he said, but I don't want to control their lives. Amara studied him. She saw the change. I will accept help, she said, but I will never sell my children's dignity. Ethan nodded. I wouldn't ask you to. Weeks later, Ethan made a public decision. He donated a large part of his inheritance. Schools, community centers, single mothers. People were shocked. A reporter asked him, why give so much away? Ethan answered honestly, because I learned money can hide pain, he said, but respect heals it. Amara watched from home. She did not smile. She felt peace. One night, the triplets asked her a question. Mom, one said, why didn't you fight him? She sat beside them. I didn't need revenge, she said. I needed truth. Is he good now? Another asked. She thought for a moment. He is trying, she replied. That matters. Months later, the children stood on a stage at school. They received an award. For courage. For honesty. Amara watched with tears in her eyes. Ethan stood in the back. Proud. Quiet. Not as a millionaire. As family. After the event, Ethan walked up to Amara. I will always regret what I did at the graveyard, he said. Amara looked at him calmly. You can't change the past, she said, but you didn't let it define the future. She extended her hand. Not for power, not for money, for closure. Ethan shook it, gently. Later that night, Amara returned to the graveyard alone. She stood before Daniel's grave. I kept my promise, she whispered. They know who they are. The wind moved softly. She smiled, not with sadness, with strength, because she never begged, never lied, never broke. She chose dignity when insulted, silence when judged, truth when it was hardest. And in the end, she didn't just win respect. She taught it. Final message to the audience. Never judge someone standing quietly. You don't know the battles they survived. Respect costs nothing, but it changes everything.